It's blinking and we are live. Just wanted to make sure that we are live. We are live. We are live. We're going to be going over a lot more book reviews, to say the least. And the reason being is that, psychologically, I would say that I've now dialed in that the reason that I do things or don't do anything is because of just not only the mental energy, the physical energy, but emotionally. And guess where that all is? It's inside. It's an internal locus of control. Today we actually have one of the best books when it comes to actual mental, and it's called The Mental Management System, and it's obviously copywritten, so that's his actual company. He does events and things like that. I looked it up. Highly recommend that you listen to him speak as well. You go on YouTube. Lanny Bassham is the guy I'm talking about. He's an Olympic shooter, and his story is incredible because he tried a lot of sports, and he just wasn't good at team sports. He was never picked first. He was always picked last. They essentially just said, nothing is going to happen to you until his father said, you just haven't pick the one that you're good at. And what incredible advice. It wasn't you're bad at all these things. The father said you haven't chosen the one that you're going to excel at. And with winning in mind, if you guys have any questions, obviously leave in the comments. Because of my stay focused, I can't actually go on YouTube until the end because it will kick me off because it has a time limit of 10 minutes. So with winning in mind, let's just go over the first part. And I already actually did a video on this, so if you want to look up the best passage within the book, but essentially it's page 37. And on page 37, I'm not going to go over it, but it's one of those things that I've heard it from Tony Robbins on self-sabotaging. Self-sabotaging essentially means when you get to an area that you're not used to, say fame, or your body's in incredible shape, or money, or doesn't matter, just an area that you're just not used to, and you'll self-sabotage yourself. And what they bring up here is, I'll just go over, they obviously have a couple of examples. So the first example is if there's a car salesman that's used to selling 5 cars a month, and within the first week they sell 4, they will self-sabotage, or the way that they say it is that their self-image, which is actually a better way to say it, their self-image will say, we're used to selling 5 in a month, and you already sold 4. So your self-image is not used to this much success. So you will actually self-sabotage, going back to Tony Robbins, you'll self-sabotage yourself for the next 3 weeks to sell 1 car. The opposite is true, is that if you sell 1 car in 3 weeks, your self-image is not used to that much that much in losses. So you'll actually sell 4 cars in the final week. You'll do whatever you can to bring yourself in alignment with your self-image. And listen to this last portion, is that your self-image tends to slow down until we are once again back in the comfort zone. Change the zone and you'll change the performance. And I'll go into, for me, that was how much business I'm actually doing, how much business I can actually handle. I actually noticed myself this week changing what worked. I was on an incredible roll in waking up, training for my Ironmans, and coming to work and prospecting. And yesterday I said, you know what? I've been doing really well for a month, and then I noticed I self-sabotaged yesterday, even after reading this book, even after reading all these other books. I don't have them around. And I literally just said, I'm not focused on the process right now, which is one of his best chapters. So I'm just going to go over a couple of other items. The other big one that I got from this is that when you do something good, you have to secure that in your mind. Okay, you have to say, if you make 1 call, you have to say, that's just like me. That's just like me to make a call. That's just like me to wake up early. So anytime you have a success, anytime you start to do something that you didn't want to do, wake up early, eat right, whatever, you have to secure that habit in your mind by saying, it's just like me. So this is more about visualization, which he goes over a lot, which is something that I'm now going to, so instead of daydreaming, I'm going to start visualizing. Breathing he talks about, which is you have to breathe in for, so his is breathe in for 4, or breathe in for 5, hold it for 2, and then breathe out for 7. I actually have tried this on the train, on the subway, when I'm feeling a little bit anxious going into an appointment. I breathe in for 5, I hold it for 2, and you breathe out more than you breathed in. The breathing out more than you breathed in is the key to the breathing exercise. And I've noticed that obviously you have the fight or flight, and then you have the parasympathetic, and you have the other one that I can't think of right now. But essentially you go back into calm instead of fight or flight. So let's just go over a couple more. One of the biggest things that I've really taken heart is the process. He talked about it in section 1, is that winning is a process. Winning is not genetics. And listen, there's people that are genetically superior when it comes to sports. But when you're actually consistent, yeah, maybe you'll win a major championship, or maybe you'll win the slam dunk contest, or maybe you'll win MVP one season. But they're talking about winning, not just one win. Not just one win. They're talking about winning. Look, perfect example, Tom Brady. Is he genetically superior? No. He just knows that winning more than just once is a process. It is a process to wake up every single day and do what needs to get done, okay? It's not about motivation. That's crap. We've already established that in other videos. For me, I've noticed that when I focus just on the process, and this is what I say to myself when I don't want to do something, wake up early, go to the gym, whatever the case is, I go through it almost pretty much every single morning. I wake up and I just say, follow the process. Trust the process. It's all about the process. That's all. It's just follow the process. The process is you get out of bed. You do the same thing. You want to set up your life and your habits and your apartment. For me, I know exactly where my bag is going to be. I know exactly where my clothes are going to be. I know exactly where my gym clothes are going to be. So my work clothes, my gym clothes, I know exactly where they're going to be. I know where my headphones to listen to an audiobook is going to be. And I don't go on my iPhone. I go on my iPad because it's not connected to the internet. It's already been downloaded. I know exactly where I'm going to go. There is not one thing in my apartment in the morning that I have to think about. I just go over and it's just automated. I put on my backpack, because once you start thinking, I don't need to do this. I don't need to go to the gym. Winning is a process. It is not about, and that's the thing, is that a lot of people say they're better than me. Well, there you go. Not competing. There's another word, orte. Orte essentially means becoming the best version of yourself. Optimist, becoming the best version of yourself. Balance of power, he goes into also goal setting. Goal setting can only be accomplished if you are actually tracking what you are trying to achieve. You can't just say, I want more money, okay? You have to say $50 a week into my savings account, and it's automated. Okay, it's not something on Friday that you say, go into my savings account. It's completely automated. Chase has this, because I have Chase. If you have Vanguard automatically takes out money and it puts into an IRA and it invests it. I'm not at a big company, I'm at my own company, so you don't have any excuses behind that. You have to measure exactly what you're gonna do when. Charles, I made 5 phone calls this morning, 5 very important phone calls. I made 1 contact. Well, I took it down, but I have a form that I fill out, a Google form that goes into a spreadsheet, and then I have an average. On Monday, I make this amount. Tuesday, for the week, I've made this on average per day. And then over time, I can say, well, I had this amount of money by making this amount of phone calls. So I can either up the amount of phone calls, or I can work on referrals. There's multiple ways of doing this, but if you don't track, I also track what time I come into work. I used to do that. Now I track in what time I get into work. Running the mental model, pressure, is it a friend or a foe? When you feel pressure, this is actually, there's a lot of studies behind this. The people that win, they say in their mind when they start feeling pressure is that they go into a flow state. Okay, the people that are the best at pressure are the ones that don't say, I need to make the shot. I feel pressure right now. I need to be perfect. I need to perform. When you start thinking that way, you're worried about what the outcome is going to be, and then that's when you lose. That's when you miss the putt. That's when you don't make the calls. That's when you don't get the listing. That's when the person that you're trying to pitch or influence or manage says no. But if you say, I feel pressure. Like I said before, I do the breathing exercise, and then you just rely on your training. You rely on the feedback that you have, that you just say to yourself, I'm ready for this. Or as, I forgot what her name was, but she says, I'm excited. Instead of saying, pressure, and then you lock up, or you say, I have to perform, you just say, boom, pressure, bring it on, okay? It's really hard, but the only way to actually practice that is by going into pressure situations. The only way to go into pressure situations is to actually follow the process, because you're gonna start understanding, holy shit, I'm following the process, I'm getting a lot more business than I'm used to, and I self-sabotaged myself yesterday. And then I went back to my process today and I said, dude, go back to the process. This is all about a part of what you wanna go. The number one mental model problem is that people, and he goes into it, there's skills factory, performance analysis, building a better you, directive affirmative. The number one thing that he talks about is that they have visualized essentially what they want to do right before they do it and right after. So in other words, it's a putt. So if you're looking to make a putt, visualize not the crowd, not everyone talking to you, but the stroke of going back and the stroke of going through. If you're looking to make a call, it's right when you're about to make the call, okay? It is literally picking up the dial. That's when you visualize talking to the person, it going well, and then if you're pitching someone, it's right, because that's when the pressure feels the greatest. It's right when you're picking up the dial. It's right when you go back. And essentially, you could also add in David Goggins, which is you also bring in the bad things, or not the bad things, but the challenges that may arise. If, for me, an Ironman, I'm doing a 70.3 and then I'm doing a full Ironman, but one of the courses is very hilly. So I'm visualizing there will be a moment where my legs are burning. They're on fire. I'm gonna wanna stop. I'm gonna wanna walk the bike up to the top of the hill. I am visualizing pushing through that. That is the moment I start my visualization. Highly recommend the book. The two ones I said before is following the process, because we all have a temperature gauge on success, on our body, on our relationships, our happiness, which I just started literally, I'll do, this is the happiness advantage, and then the other one is, I forgot the name of it, but it's Sean Aker, and he went to Harvard and everything else. Highly recommend that as well, even though I just started that. With winning in mind, there is probably going to be a link below. Obviously, it goes to Amazon. Yes, they pay me a penny if a book sells or anything else. I don't know. I make like $3 a month. Doesn't really matter. But if you want to use that, you can. It's up to you. I don't really care. But the two things is the self-sabotaging, focusing, and then when I do something good, I say, that's just like me. That's just like me to make phone calls. That's just like me to be happy. That's just like me to avoid or to not avoid the micro-avoidance. Micro-avoidance, I'll leave you guys on this, is something that I want to bring back into my mind or back into my life, is that when I feel that I should say something or I should do something, so in other words, a minor thing. So I was foam rolling this morning at the gym, okay? And then I stand the foam roller up and then I walk away. And I said, I didn't put it back to where it was, which was in a holder. That is such a small micro-avoidance that I said, you know what? Put it back to where it was, okay? Do you understand that those minor decisions then catapult me into, did I say no or yes to coffee? Did I say yes or no to talking to that person? Did I say yes or no by asking for business when I'm in front of that customer? Did I say yes or no and sit in silence or talk when I'm negotiating? At 2 p.m., that starts at me going back and saying, you know what? This goes back over there. Then in the gym or in the locker room, talking to this guy. Are you coming to the class tomorrow? Awesome. Joking around. Those are, if you avoid the small things, it starts compounding, and I can tell you right now, by 3 p.m., 4 p.m., when you have no willpower or very limited willpower, it's all about energy management, okay? It's not about time management, it's energy management. So, hope this helps. If you guys have any questions, I'm gonna pop over to YouTube. All right, we don't have any questions. As always, leave your comments below. Hopefully this has been good. I see that it's not in HD, but what are you gonna do? Have an amazing day.